Astro Bot. What more is there to say about it? It's been nearly 2 months since it dropped, and people have been raving about its quality and celebrating it as one of the best 3D platformers ever, rivaling even some of the greatest 3D Mario games. And if you know anything about 3D Mario games, you know that being compared to them is one of the best compliments you can get. So, what do I think about it? I mean, yeah, it's really as good as this. Astro Bot is one of the best games that I've played this year, and I would not be surprised if some people think that this is one of the best games of all time because, well, it does feel quite at home being on a list like that, but that's just me. So what makes Astro Bot so good, and why is it being compared to some of the greatest 3D platformers of all time? I think we can begin at the core element of 3D platformers, the gameplay. I think the gameplay of any 3D platformer is super important because 3D platformers typically don't have a strong hook in their story or jaw-dropping visuals. The gameplay is either make it or break it for games in this genre. Take Sonic Frontiers. I love that game mainly because I'm a Sonic fan and that's the Sonic game that I've wanted for such a long time, but I can see how the gameplay loop really holds back potential players from trying the game or enjoying it, which is just one example of how important the gameplay is in a 3D platformer. So what does Astro Bot do to make its gameplay fun? Well, a lot of things, but above all, it's just fun. First, you must look back at the bot himself, Astro. Astro can charge up his punch to spin, and has a jetpack that can let him gain some extra height, where its laser can also damage enemies down below. Add this on top of the usual jogging speed of any 3D platforming mascot, and you've got a good foundation to build around. And build around is the right word here, rather than build upon. Many times when you're playing a game, as the game progresses, the devs add features that improve upon the foundation that they've created. Although, a good thing, it does have the problem that the end product differs so much from the beginning that it becomes a bit incoherent or unrecognizable from the start product. There's a reason why Souls and Monster Hunter Combat are as good as they are, because the moves will always remain the same from start to finish. It's just the situations with how you'll use these moves changes. And I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, but Astro Bot nails it, like really nails it. Its levels are all sprawling with different challenges that make you use your moves in unique ways. Maybe you'll use your attack to grab an enemy and launch them, or use the attack button to give you that extra bit of airtime once your jetpack has run out, or the jetpack to break a platform of enemies, and just so much more. There are so many unique ideas that are thrown in these levels that constantly works around how Astro plays. Maybe making platforming more tight and faster paced on the ice levels, taking a more focused approach on the lava levels. My biggest complaint I have towards Astro Bot's level design is the challenge that the game poses. Yes, there are some levels that challenge me, but nothing super hard like Odyssey's Dark Side of the Moon. But for a game like this, I don't think it's a big deal breaker, but back to the levels. There's also more to do than just simply move forward and complete the levels, because there are a lot of collectibles here. These levels are simply moving from A to B, but what you can find on that path is really where Astro excels. There are so many collectibles for you to find here. You got the puzzle pieces that unlock new features in the game's hub world, which I'll get to in a bit, and secret exits that, minor spoilers, unlocks levels in a secret world. It's these small things that give a lot of value to fully exploring these worlds, as these are optional but are just so exciting to uncover. But the biggest collectible is probably what you've seen across your timelines on social media or in YouTube videos, and yes, the cameo bots, VIP bots. Each stage, except for the special stages, have 7 bots that you can collect. On average, 4 to 5 of these bots are generic bots, but those remaining ones are special PlayStation or cameo bots. These are just incredible to find. I don't want to talk about these bots just yet, I'll say that for a later section, but finding these bots alongside the puzzle pieces and secret exits is super exciting because they all require outside of the box thinking and trying to get them, except for the easy ones, but because like 60% of them felt possible to get, those 40% of more challenging collectibles to find made it that much more enjoyable to get that platinum trophy. And like I said, there are puzzle pieces that unlock stuff in the hub world. Now, although I do think that the Mad Mask-esque desert of Astro's hub world is a bit, well, not exciting at times, but what is exciting is how the hub opens up and grows with the bots that you collect. After each world you complete, a new area can be unlocked if you have collected enough bots to help you make a rope or bridge to get to it, where there are more bot-centric objectives that unlock special bots, further increasing the incentive to collect as many bots in the levels as possible. And then with the puzzle pieces, these unlock shops of sorts. You can unlock shops of the likes of changing the color of your DualSense ship, clothes shop, and probably the best gacha machine that unlocks animations for your cameo boss and the cosmetics. Overall, I can't complain with this hub world because it just does what it should do. But now we have to talk about something a little bit more technical, but really it's not that technical. Now, I'm going to ask you a very important question. Ready? How does Astro Bot feel like? If you can't answer it, don't worry, cause that probably means you haven't played the game yet. But if you know, you know. Team Asobi alongside Insomniac Games are the only two developers out there that are actually making the most out of one of the best controllers in gaming, the PlayStation 5's DualSense. The DualSense controller has so much potential if used correctly, with its inbuilt speakers, haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, yet there aren't many games that fully utilize its capabilities, but Team Asobi shows up and really makes you feel like Astro Bot. I feel the physics particles in my hands, feel the spaceship, the water and the power-ups. They all come to life appropriately within the palm of your hands, and it's like a toy. Not my quote, I heard someone say that line, but I don't remember where from. And these power-ups, man, they're incredibly fun. The boxing gloves, monkey arms, bowling ball, they're all so unique and never stay past their desired time, and they're just a blast to play around with. And that quote I just said, that Astro Bot feels like a toy, is something that really rings true the more you play it. Astro Bot brings out this childlike wonder and excitement when you play it. I watched a video where Team Asobi were interviewed on the making of Astro Bot. There was a presentation where the director, Nicolas Doucet, showed an image with how most, if not all, of the current leading studios on PlayStation were focused on making games that are a lot more adult and mature. And on the left side of this graph lies Team Asobi, who have taken on the role of making games for all ages, which is something that is noticeably missing from PlayStation's flagship studios. Just looking at what they've published on the PS5, the closest game that I would say is family friendly and for all ages would probably be Ratchet & Clank and Spider-Man, but Astro Bot, yeah, that's a game for everyone. Everything in Astro Bot is filled with so much love, care, and charm that it's almost impossible to not find yourself smiling when you're playing it. The game looks just wonderful and adorable. All the objects in this game are filled with life, from the trees, the animals, and even the enemies too. And then you have the backdrops and scenery that is just stunning to look at, and they're all super unique, from luscious greens to the insides of the tree to the casino, and then you have the PlayStation themed levels. I won't spoil it, but each world has a level that plays like one of the games from PlayStation's backlog with unique gameplay elements and a song too. It's just such a blast to play through, and wow, the soundtrack. It's just so fun and catchy, and I really just can't get enough of it. The main menu theme with the incredible boss themes that always get me hyped, who also change their instrumentation depending on the boss, or the chill vibes of Botdi Beach. There's just so much great music and it's one of the most fun soundtracks of 2024. But I want to take another quick look at the animations that you could find in the hub world. It's so cute to just put your controller down and see what Astro himself ends up doing. I mean, he can pull out a multitude of consoles out of nowhere, and it really gives this small bot a whole personality. However, the best animations are seen in the VIP boss that you can collect from the levels, and when you combine them with the animations that you unlock from the gacha machine. Seeing Ken and Ryu play fight with each other in a homage to their games, the hunter from Bloodborne parry Astro's punch, or Kratos throwing his axe at the little bot. All these animations and bots aren't just there to breathe life into this game. They're here as a celebration of PlayStation's brand. I'll admit, I was not a PlayStation kid, so I don't have a strong connection to most of these characters, but seeing some characters from games that I've enjoyed recently, or some that I've seen back in the day, or characters that seem interesting, has really made me want to go back and really unearth more of PlayStation's history. And that's ultimately the best way that I can describe Astro Bot, a celebration of PlayStation and its history. It's a callback to an era of games that PlayStation hasn't made for a while, and is something that I really think fits alongside their current games. Levels that are fun to explore, rewarding to complete, and ultimately never overstay their welcome makes this one of the most fun platinum trophies to get, and having a charm to it that is just so wonderful. I do get that people will argue that Astro Bot struggles having an identity of its own as it relies on other IP, but for me personally, Astro Bot is just a phenomenal game that can stand its own ground solely based on the quality of the game itself, even if they cut half of the PlayStation references. Why? Well, because it's just that good. And with that, welcome to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end of the video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. A like, dislike, comment with your own thoughts on this wonderful platformer, and subscribes all come a long way in helping the channel out. But with that said, I've got stuff to do, so I'm going to leave it here. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day, night, and week, and with that, Storm out.